Gearing up for the second presidential debate, as well as the VP debate tonight, President Trump tweeted yesterday this: "I am looking forward to the debate on the evening of Thursday, October 15th in Miami. It will be great," writes the president. The debate is set to take place 2 weeks following the president's COVID-19 diagnosis. Last night, former Vice President Joe Biden said that if the president is still sick, quote, "we shouldn't have a debate." Joining me right now is Trump 2020 presidential campaign senior advisor Jason Miller. Jason, great to have you this morning. Thanks very much for joining us. What about that? If it's only 2 weeks from his diagnosis of COVID-19, is it too soon for the president to go on that debate stage, Jason?
Maria, good morning. It sounds like Joe Biden's trying to weasel his way out of a debate here. But if President Trump is cleared and he's healthy and he's ready to go, then, of course, we're pushing forward. The president fully plans on being there next week, ready to rock. I know Vice President Pence will be debating this evening in the VP debate, where a lot of folks were very impressed with Vice President Pence 4 years ago when he really wiped out Tim Kaine. That was a pretty impressive performance. But no, President Trump's feeling much better. Spoke to them last night. We're going to make sure we take this smartly as far as his recovery goes, and he'll be ready for next week.
So tell us about the strategy, Jason. How does the president intend to campaign while still in the White House with COVID-19? How has this diagnosis changed the president's plans and the campaign's plans?
Well, obviously, it throws a little bit of a wrinkle in here. We did launch this week Operation Mega, where everyone from the vice president to the first family to all of our all-star supporters will be fanning out all across the country. I think we have something in the neighborhood of 50 different events lined up over the next few days, or immediately following tonight's vice president debate. And really, this is a way for us to show that we're going to help be there for President Trump in the way that he's always been there for us. But look, obviously, this is a little bit of an obstacle in that the president's not out doing rallies and such right now, but he's chomping at the bit. He's ready to go. We're going to do a few things with the president in the virtual space over the next few days until he's back out there in person. And then I think you're going to see a very strong campaign push toward the end. He'll be back to doing the multiple events a day while Joe Biden's calling his 9 a.m. lids.
So yesterday we spoke with former White House chief strategist Steve Bannon. He joined me on the program. He said he still expects the president to win on November 3rd. Here's what he said. I want to get your reaction.
I was always, for the last couple of months, leading this effort, understanding they couldn't win on game day. They cannot win on game day. They've got to try to steal it starting the evening of November 3rd. President Trump's going to have a massive victory that evening. They're going to have a combination of lawyers, media and social media, the oligarchs in Silicon Valley, and also the street muscle of Antifa and certain elements of Black Lives Matter.
Your reaction there as Goldman Sachs comes out with this note today, Jason, saying that it's optimistic about a Democratic sweep, writing all else equal, such a blue wave would prompt us to upgrade our forecasts on the economy. It would likely result in substantially easier U.S. fiscal policy, a reduced risk of renewed trade escalation, and a firmer global growth outlook. Jason, your reaction to that?
Well, Maria, I think Joe Biden having the support of Goldman Sachs, that's a lot like being on the cover of Sports Illustrated. There's nothing but bad luck that's going to come from that. I think most of the folks and the CEOs and the business types who are watching your show this morning don't want the corporate rate to go up higher than it is in China. They don't want taxes to go way up. They don't want all these regulations to come back. That would be an absolute destruction to our economy. President Trump has laid out a vision to go and create 10 million new jobs in the first 10 months of 2021. I think we're going to be well on our way to do that. We've seen a pretty strong recovery so far. But again, Steve Bannon, political genius. I think those are pretty smart words from him.
And do you think that the coronavirus is going to take center stage tonight with Kamala Harris and Vice President Mike Pence? I mean, she's going to argue that, you know, the administration didn't take care, and he's going to obviously look at her record. What are you expecting tonight?
Well, I think you're going to see calling out of Kamala Harris and her radical left agenda. And for as many ways that Joe Biden has been a little bit of a Johnny-come-lately when it comes to the radical agenda, Kamala Harris is the real deal. She supports the AOC version of the Green New Deal. And just to be clear for folks watching, that's the one where you have no cows, you have no planes. I'm not even sure how Kamala Harris would get to Utah for the debate. Maybe by covered wagon. I don't know. If there were no planes for her to get there, or Pony Express, it'd be a really long long ride to make it. But when it comes to Vice President Pence, he's the one who's been leading the coronavirus task force. He knows the science. He knows the game plan forward. We're going to get the vaccine and return life to normal. Here's what you're going to hear from Kamala Harris, some dangerous anti-vax rhetoric. I think Kamala Harris wants people to stay in their basement like Joe Biden for the rest of their lives. You're going to see Vice President Pence really bring the hammer.
I wonder if she's going to attack his religion and his faith.
I don't know. I mean, I think the quickest way to get on Kamala Harris's good side is maybe to go to jail, and then her and her staffers will try to bail you out, just like they did with the Minneapolis rioters. So I don't know. She has her own agenda. It's way far out there, but never bet against Vice President Pence.
Jason, it's great to see you.